It's me, Josh Hunter. Presently in the city of Santa Monica, California, and I got a new jutsu for you. Because lately I've been wondering, like, am I asleep or am I awake? And so how do I define being awake? How do I define being asleep? And so this jutsu is supposed to help me define that, so I have an accurate description, so that I'm able to understand, like, how to tell the difference between, like, a particularly dreamy state or, you know, a more sober state. I guess I'm referring to sobriety. When you think about being sober, not necessarily like, oh, in relation to having some type of a drug addiction, but in relation to being sober, being conscious, lucid, I think, is what I'm concerned with. So this this jutsu should help you to determine if you're awake or asleep. It should tell you in the best way that you need to know, or the way that's best. I think anyway. I mean, I'm attempting to do that for me. I don't know if it'll be for everyone. It's called. Why don't you put on a little makeup? No jutsu. And it's inspired by the song by System of a Down, because they have this song called Chop Suey. Okay, and the first one, and the first line of that song is, "Wake up! Why don't you put on a little makeup?" Anyway, so I don't want to just. For some reason, I felt that it felt more appropriate, instead of to say, like, wake up, you just put something. Anyone who knows that song, by System of a Down, it's like, wake up, why don't you put on a little makeup? Like I said, this jutsu might not be for everyone. Hold on. So, why don't you put on a little makeup? No jutsu is supposed to make you aware if you are awake or if you are asleep, and how sober you are and how lucid you are. I don't know if I can properly define these words. I'm assuming, I guess, the standard Webster's dictionary, and generally what I feel or what I mean when I say sober and lucid, and what I imagine that to be, and when I hear those words, my associations with those words, and what I believe them to mean. So, if you want to know if you're awake or asleep, then that's that's the jutsu for you. Or, I mean, if that's what you want to use. All right. Secondly, I also, I think it's very important to know what kind of person you're dealing with. Any person who you allow to come into very close contact with you often, you should know what type of person they are. You should make sure you've done your research, because it doesn't seem to be like people really know each other. Like, that's why you get into fights. I mean, some people, like that, because you don't know each other. And if you knew each other, if you knew their nature, then you wouldn't, certain steps you would never take. So, to help me remember this, I like to imagine that, what if we misunderstood dogs? And when we play fetch with them, when we have the ball and we throw it, and we say, go fetch. Like, what if, like, every time we did that, they were like, hey dude, I don't like that. Don't throw that ball away. And they go back and they get it, and they're like, okay, I know you throw it away, but I went and I got it back for you. So could you just, and then we didn't understand what they meant, what they felt. Like, we think it means, oh, they're happy, they like doing it, they like fetching, they like going for the ball. And to them it's like, please, I'm sure this is in some cartoon or something somewhere, somebody probably already said it, but I just want to make sure that I remember. And so, if we were misunderstanding dogs, playing fetch would just only be getting them angry. And we just didn't, like, what if we didn't understand that, is what I'm saying. So, that's why I think it helps to know the nature of the person you spend your time with. And, just for safety's sake. And so I obviously don't get very close to people. I mean, that's what it seems like anyway. I don't know. Anyway. I guess this is a short video. I guess that's all I need. That's all I wanted to say. So, no, there's got to be something else, right? It's usually 15 minutes. What if this is like this? What this means? I'm not going to be able to do 15 minutes anymore. How many minutes is this so far? Is this all that I am? I'm referring to like a scene in the movie Star Trek, the motion picture, the first one, 1979. Like when because there's this thing, and it's like it's like this is a spoiler, by the way, if you haven't seen that movie, Star Trek, the motion picture, the first Star Trek movie. They sent the Voyager 1 into space, and by the time, you know, Captain Kirk and all these guys were around, they found it on its way back. Because it had been so long, it had been gone for so long that, you know, they didn't, the society that sent it out, like they were like, I don't know, there was no real representation of the society that sent it out. And so by the time it came back, it had grown in consciousness and various other things. And it was just, you know, it was just eating up everything. And so when they tried to figure out who it was, it just said its name was V'ger, because the other parts were obscured in the dust. And the full name was Voyager 1. And ow. Voyager 1. Anyway, so Spock, who he's like a Vulcan, he's half Vulcan and half Earthling, and he's like, okay, he goes and he tries to contact it, and like he, you know, it's a very like stressful thing, like trying to understand this being, and he comes back, but he's like a little rattled, and he says, when I contacted this being, it had this feeling, this very strong feeling, and its whole program was to collect information and analyze that information. If I'm paraphrasing correctly, its whole program was to gather information and understand it to the best of its ability. And then it landed on a planet with machines who were already conscious, and they said, "Oh, you're one of us." They didn't realize it was in no way like them. It just looked like them. They're like, we're machines, you're a machine. And when it came back, it had been melded with their consciousness. So it was like this super fucking like machine. And so when he contacted it, it was on its way back to Earth. It felt that it fulfilled its purpose. Gather all knowledge and information. And his one feeling, I guess, was, is this all that I am? You know, it didn't know, like, is this all that I am? So you have to give it the tone. You don't know what the tone is. And so Spock, his inflection, as he's saying it, is like, is this all that I am? Like, you know, that's his human side. Like, that's him. Like, that's like his human side. Because Spock is always like, oh, you know, that's just not logical. You know, but this is the only way he's ever able to express, you know, what it feels like, you know, what okay, because the Vulcans, you know, most of the standard flesh and blood Vulcans would never fucking say that. You'd never hear like a if I'm not mistaken, you never hear like a full-blood Vulcan like say that, I think. I hope this isn't racist, because if there's like alright, you know, in all probability there probably is like a series, like a I'm not going to assume that. I'm not going to assume that anyway. So it was just a neat scene, and he's with Kirk. You know, he's like V'ger. He grabs his hand. Kirk you know, because like it fucked him up, and so he's like in the hospital, you know, and so he's with Kirk, and Kirk, he like grabs Kirk's hand. He's like, V'ger, it doesn't understand this simple feeling. You know, and then that's and like that's one of the best fucking communications. Like when Spock, like those guys never could have fucking handled that shit without Spock. I guarantee it. There is no way that the Starship Enterprise handled that situation without Spock. And I'm telling you, like that, like when he like shows up on the ship, everyone on that ship, it's like they're almost like surprised. They're almost like, Spock, you're fucking here? Anyway, I can't tell if I was being like, you know, I think I was being honest. I might have been distracted. I can't tell. Anyway, I really love that scene. I've seen that movie tons of times. I've seen that movie at least like 10 times. And the first time I watched it, I'm like, man, this is really fucking boring. That was my feeling. Like the first time I ever watched this fucking movie, I'm like, God, it takes a million. You can't. It takes so much time to do anything in this film. And I didn't understand like the sequences when they're like, you know, when Kirk and Scotty are like trying to. I mean, when they're first arriving on the ship, and Kirk has not been on this ship for a very long time. Like he hasn't, and they're showing him, oh, dude, look how fucking great this ship is. And it takes a while, and they give you time to like appreciate this ship. They just like look at, and it's all very, it's like classy. It's very classy. I know that's not like when I say it like that, it's like, oh, you shouldn't. But I mean it. To me, it's like it's nice. You don't see that in movies very much anymore. They're always like, all right, here's it, and they don't give you time to appreciate it. That feeling, you know, like you haven't been on. I mean, this used to be like your ship, and you haven't been here like in a while. Anyway, that's a good film to watch. I mean, I think there are things in there that help you to never forget. Because I don't know what the fuck that guy who ended up running off. He's like, I wanna go wherever this robot's going. Okay, pal. You sure you're being real honest? You sure you're being honest there? You sure that's what you want to do? See, and that's what Spock doesn't say. Like, if he had that feeling as well, but like the Vulcans, you know, maybe like he knows, he's not like saying like this type of thing. You got to make sure that you know like who and what you're dealing with, is what I'm saying. Anyway. I was feeling a little slow, and so that's why I'm just trying to assure myself, or I need to know, like when I feel slow, like what do I sound like when I feel slow? Like, I feel like I've been moving very slowly. So I want to make sure that oh shit. Uh-oh. Anyway. Why is everything moving so slowly? Like I can't. I don't know, something happened. I'm not. Anyway. Alright, so, okay. I'm 33 years old, and I've got the best grades on Earth.